Great, I finished introducing the reclamation of Earth. Can I pass the mic to Dr. Tesla? Wait, before I get to the origin, I want to talk about the finality, or rather the second-gen Project Selene. If this is the order, then the connection between the origin and the finality is apparently much tighter than we conceived. I remember the original Project Selene is about mass-producing a device that can convert Honkai energy into normal energy to render Honkai energy harmless. Yes, assuming there's a linear relationship between Honkai and civilization, it would have been the perfect industrial solution. But anti-entropy later realized that the Herrscher finality exists beyond this world. It's intrinsically different from the other Herrschers. This is what caused Selene to fail in the previous era. In the face of the transcendent being, no amount of time or production capacity was enough. Therefore, the second version of the plan is no longer an industrial solution, but a special operation. Special operation is similar to the situation with the Herrscher of Dominance and Auto in that we need to fundamentally change how our enemy exists. This is what Dr. Einstein especially told me. You mean this project is closely linked to Kiana? Yes, in simpler terms, we will imitate what Siren did in the second eruption. You should remember the unmanned battleship captured by Saint Freya. It was supposed to be the launcher. Only we didn't foresee those changes. Furthermore, the fact proved we oversimplified Kiana's issues. Back then, nobody imagined the persona of the Herrscher of the Void would revive and worsen after so long. That wasn't only disastrous for Kiana and Saint Freya, but also led anti-entropy studies on Herrscher to a dead end. That's why anti-entropy wasn't ready to reveal this project until now. In summary, the second-gen project Selene aimed to artificially create the Herrscher finality and use her power to complete the Selene system. Artificially create? Yes. Unlike Project Stigma, we plan for humans to directly control the power finality. Is that really possible? Auto's desire to control the power of the void has caused enough problems. That's why I said anti-entropy study on Herrscher reached a dead end before. In fact, it was by studying the Herrscher of Dominance that we found a feasible technical route. Brownia's metamorphosis is a strong proof. Brownia and the Herrscher of Dominance. More specifically, just like Welt and Brownia are among the 300,000, all Herrschers are connected to the same object subtly. In the past, we thought it was an imaginary tree, but that's far from the truth. If we apply the concept of transfinite numbers, even if we exhaust the Honkai on Earth, we're still wandering around the lowest cardinal number and far from seeing the imaginary tree that's also infinite in the scale in the transfinite number. Forget it. She might start explaining transfinite numbers. Anyway, Kevin, Hare, and the Flame Chasers in Elysian Realm all have mentioned a cocoon to us, right? He fell from the sky that day. The people on the ground looked up and thus saw the starry night sky. In other words, an alien being that appeared at some point decides the fate of Earth and the descendants of Herrschers. It's evolved and manipulated everything Honkai related from the imaginary endings. Back to the mob hat said, all Herrschers are connected to the same object subtly. Obviously, this object can only be the cocoon of finality, and Project Sigma must have manipulated it in some way to steal the power of finality. It's like Prometheus stealing fire, isn't it? If we consider the case of the Herrscher of dominance, I mean how it could have existed, everything boils down to one answer. The cocoon of finality is the only imaginary singularity and the only Herrscher core. Its projections between different dimensions cause different Herrscher authorities to appear in reality. Are you saying all Herrschers are but a shadow of finality, like the relationship between bubble universes and the proper world? Yes, you can think of the birth of every Herrscher as an embrace of Honkai to reality. Maybe it's the sheer number of dimensions between us that made this embrace so erroneous. Hence, the Herrscher of finality has given the authority of time to find the right embrace through trial and error. Does it sadden you to realize that humans are merely lab rats in the universe? But even lab rats occasionally get the chance to run away. Our way of artificially creating the Herrscher of finality is to emulate its authority so we gain control of the power of finality. Humans will now adapt to the environment, but transform the environment to adapt to humans. Which is to say, one of us needs to step up, seize the authority of finality, and become the Herrscher of finality. That's the plan. And there's another similar case besides the Herrscher of dominance. Could it be Siren? Yes. In the second eruption, Siren feels the authority of reason, void, thunder, wind, death, and fire. Her use of them was extremely inefficient, but what's truly noteworthy is that possessing so many authorities didn't impact her personality visibly. Even if someone actually possesses every Herrscher authority, that's not the same as becoming the Herrscher of finality, right? Yeah, artificial and natural are different, and they should be. Brain and computer, body and soulium, Herrscher and the stigma awakened. As the Turing test has taught us, as long as the same result is achieved in the end, the detail of the process don't matter at all. Ultimately, whether it's Project Stigma or Nagamitsu's plan, they both emulate the finality from different perspectives and on different levels to serve specific purposes. In comparison, Nagamitsu's plan is somewhat superficial, and Project Stigma is simply inhumane. So the reason I want to talk about the finality before the origin is the price we're willing to pay. If we disregard the unknown help from the origin, according to the needs of Selene, we must literally gather all Herrscher cores on one person in whatever way we can. In practice, it will be as dangerous as carrying out mental surgery at least. But if we want to believe this is true, that the Herrscher of origin has left a shortcut for herself for today's plight, if everything goes according to plan, we may actually welcome a perfect happy ending. I see. Kiana, you didn't give your opinion. Is it because you already knew before the meeting? Yeah, but it's not something I can decide. From my perspective, I hope May and everyone can work with me to create a tomorrow where everyone's happy. Everyone. That includes you and me, right? So are you willing to believe in me and yourself? I heard you. I'm more than happy to do it with you. Additionally, I take it that the exploration of origin is backed up by a plan like the reclamation of Earth. Yes, we plan to use Project Stigma to find the right way of using the beacon. To be more specific, it's an hour later. Specifically, our operation is the prerequisite for the other two operations. Judging by the progress of the other two ops, the complexity of Project Stigma, we might grab victory with ease or be faced with a never-ending battle. That's why we're divided between combat teams, security teams, and reserve teams. Are you unhappy being on the security team? I feel more sorry for someone your age to join the combat team. I knew you wouldn't be nice. Durandal, let's ignore this old man. He just has a particular sense of humor. Sorry to interrupt. Overseer Teresa, Durandal-sama, Mr. Yang has initiated a special comm. Looks like the reclamation of Earth is about to start. Which means Rhythm and Co. are waiting at St. Freya for us to stir the directory woven by Project Stigma. Of course, even if Project Stigma isn't stirred, they can create the opportunity to explore the origin with their own power. Yeah, but we shouldn't keep him waiting. Susanna, put him through. Understood. Madame Teresa, what's the situation? St. Freya is ready. The Deep is ready. Good. Then as the interim sovereign of anti-entropy and Jigsaw, I hereby declare that the three-step strategy which surpassed Project Stigma and the threat of Honkai has commenced. We strive to reclaim the Earth and explore the origin, which in turn will dictate how we transcend physicality. Let us begin operations. Is it Cosmic Juggernaut operating remotely? Looks like Nagamitsu has created the first spatial rift for us. Take out these imaginary constructs and channel the rift to our own power. These enemies keep coming because we're making Project Stigma hemorrhage. Fewer enemies now? Looks like the timing we need is close at hand. The husk, of course. So it's the timing we need? Crush it and we'll get the perfect opportunity to build up our own camp. After the husk in the rift collapsed, the artificial battlefield in the deep was enjoying a temporary yet absolute tranquility. And the two Valkyries who would be part of the reclamation of Earth had been waiting for this moment. Although I used the Abyss Flower to guide Shariak's Stigma power to overcome the obstacle created by the Stigma space for the first time not long ago, maybe it's because the current Project Stigma is also devised by a Shariak. This method can achieve even better results than directly using Cosmic Juggernaut. So Cosmic Juggernaut is guiding our power externally and expanding our influence as much. Yes, reclaiming Earth will be a long process, but a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. I don't think it'll be more difficult than walking back to Earth from the moon. Why I'm not surprised to hear that. Without further ado, let's get to it, shall we? By the power of Equinox, I'm playing a role similar to the Holy Blade, manipulate the world and anchor it to you, the successor of the Caslana Stigma space. Abyss Flower, please become the key that leads me to the true might of Stigmata. I'm the darkness from hell. I'm the light from heaven. I was born before the world came to be. I will survive after the world is sent to oblivion. I shall set the world right and bring back order. Key of creation, Abyss Flower, Level 2 output. Holy Lungs Reflex, Pride Unleashed. The world is being conquered. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. How true. Two hours later, where everything began. The power churning beneath the deep had yet to reach here. The crashing of waves that was woven by billions of existences kept its distance from the solitary Saint Freya. Amid this fragile tranquility, the girl just drew an extremely deep yet perfectly normal breath. Science would reveal its instinctive behavior to be incredibly complex. Smooth muscle, alveoli, blood, mitochondria, citric acid cycle. They collaborate on different levels to complete body-wide exchanges to allow an organism to live another second. Conversely, no matter how complex and sophisticated a skill is, as long as it can be programmed, it can become an instinct, such as the action she was performing. Bronya, how is it going? Like the previous monitoring, although Durandel's been replacing and stripping the fractions of Project Sigma, the mainnet that's taking shape hasn't changed a bit. In other words, we can't hack into it and use the origin beacon yet. What about Fuhua and the others? Since you began monitoring the mainnet of Project Stigma, the monsters that renormalize space have been appearing in Saint Freya. To ensure we can be on call, Fuhua's handling it with Kiana and Li Sushang. Are those monsters anomalous in any way? Anomalous? Yes, such as steeply increasing or decreasing in number. I don't think so. Got it. Although the opportunity hasn't presented itself, if any change occurs, we need to pour ourselves into it. Then why don't we take a break? It's Herrscher of Sentience. Are you working well with Bronya? Of course, don't. What do you mean working with? I'm directing her and you. In terms of monitoring, this model is more effective than expected. Of course, it also causes more fatigue. In fact, since noticing Herrscher of Sentience pulled away from her mind, she had been saving energy with the easiest posture possible. Herrscher of Truth was capable of deconstructing Project Sigma, but searching the web of stigma woven by the will of 7 billion people was a different matter. Luckily, the one who was unparalleled in the field of pure mind was with them. Look at your twig arms. You should eat 4 meals and 2 more burgers a day like Kiana. Anyhow, with Bronya as the processor and Herrscher of Sentience as the driver, this has substantially improved our ability to monitor Project Sigma. It's thanks to Dr. Einstein. When Cosmic Juggernaut is already running at full capacity and Kiana was still conserving energy, she invented this brilliant method of monitoring based on Project Sigma. Too bad we haven't achieved anything yet. We can only wait and put our faith in Durandal and Teresa. Do you need to contact anti-entropy? But the doctor should be prepared for a finality-related project. No, I don't think that makes difference. Rather than delaying their preparation, we can exchange our work with them. In terms of results, it may be the fault of Bronya and Herrscher of Sentience who decided to wait and see. Wait, what? Not blaming you. You're the strongest among us, so it's more advantageous for you to guard the center and conserve your energy until the time comes. Yeah, whatever. Feel free to get yourselves into trouble. Sila, May, let's go. We could use some fresh air. Yeah. This should be the type of husk Teresa and Siegfried ran into. But after contact, their way of existence seemed to be exact opposite of the other types. Oh, are we late? No, there will be a nice exercise. Bronya, is the observation over? Yeah, but Project Sigma seemed to be adapting to change by not changing, so we can't observe the opening that we need. But coincidentally, in the battle just now, Bronya had an interesting discovery. It suddenly occurred to Bronya that, as a mainnet of Project Sigma, the name Planet Directory may imply it to be a work result instead of a workplace. Huh? I don't think I can follow you. Sorry, Bronya will use a different metaphor. Think of the section of Sea of Quanta we set foot in. Those monsters also display traces of unnaturalness. They aren't just imaginary constructs, they're tools manufactured for a job. Dr. May also said that Project Stigma exists to codify the world. Given that they've been attacking St. Freya, the nature of this job is evident. Helping Project Stigma to renormalize the space? Yeah. Therefore, rather than calling them imaginary constructs, we should call them the typesetter of Project Stigma. And the Planet Directory is the masterpiece by those typesetters. If we're planning to change our thinking, then we should skip the directory or the mainnet and go after the thing that weaved them. That being said, how can we do that? By cleverly use the resources our enemies brought to us. For instance, those weak monsters we keep defeating clearly can't codify anything by numbers alone. They serve as needles and threads at most. The real codifier is likely similar to the husk we saw. It's an imaginary construct that can influence the laws. Could it be husk existentialism that Prometheus mentioned? Very likely. Can we use it? If the other party is able to renormalize the world, maybe we can use those enemies like Duranda and Teresa did. It's theoretically feasible, but perhaps World Serpent can't dominate them independently of finality. Moreover, regarding the division of work, our top priority is to figure out how to use the origin beacon. Dr. Tessa believes, since this beacon is out of service in reality, our only option is to approach the feeble cocoon of finality in some way. This is why we need to find Project Stigma's opening and hack into it. After all, within the scope of our reach, Project Stigma is the only thing related to Cocoon of Finality. Back to the previous topic. Since Project Stigma adapts to change by not changing, we can try tracing back to higher levels through this rigid system. This way, the entire system will become an opening of Project Stigma. So, what should we prepare? Not much different from the previous observation, just more targeted. Don't worry, it won't be too hard. Right on time. Fire! Bronya can gather more information about you.